the original line of scrimmage and knocked to the turf. And Lake Norman's defense makes a stand.
This is a great play by Jalen Glover. Watch him on the left side of your screen show up right there. He's the one that made Brody Norman tuck that football. Norman was looking for someone to throw it to. Glover recognized what was going on, attacked up the field, and forced Brody Norman to make a decision quicker. He had to tuck the ball and run, and he's short of the first down. Great job there by Glover.
Punt time for the Blue Devils. Both teams have had to boot it away here in this first quarter. And this one takes a Blue Devils bounce. Downed at the
touchback.
Touchback. Was he in?
Oh, they gave it to him.
Wow, did they spot it at the 1 yard line?
He ended up in the end zone.
Long way to go for the Lake Norman offense when we return scoreless on our WCCB Game of the Week.
Create second and medium, second and shorts.
Trips at the top. Errant pass.
That's going to be a lateral.
Through the hands of Balst.
I think that's a lateral.
Yeah,
that's
I did
be a
too.
Fumble. They're going to lose yardage there. It's going to be 3rd and 18.
Let's take a second look at the replay.
See, Balst is backing up. See, he's behind him. See, that ball is errant. It's inaccurate behind, so that's going to be, loss of yardage. So it's going to be 3rd and, looks like about 19, Kendall.
Yeah, they spotted 3rd and 18, but 3rd and a mile nonetheless for the Mooresville Blue Devils.
You'll likely see quarters coverage here from Lake Norman, which is 4 across. The corners and safeties will split the field into 4 sections on that back end.
Norman pressured. Norman tucks it. Norman across midfield, close to the marker, but, the original line of scrimmage and knocked to the turf. And Lake Norman's defense makes a stand.
This is a great play by Jalen Glover. Watch him on the left side of your screen show up right there. He's the one that made Brody Norman tuck that football. Norman was looking for someone to throw it to. Glover recognized what was going on, attacked up the field, and forced Brody Norman to make a decision quicker. He had to tuck the ball and run, and he's short of the first down. Great job there by Glover.
Punt time for the Blue Devils. Both teams have had to boot it away here in this first quarter. And this one takes a Blue Devils bounce. Downed at the
touchback.
Touchback. Was he in?
Oh, they gave it to him.
Wow, did they spot it at the 1 yard line?
He ended up in the end zone.
Long way to go for the Lake Norman offense.
One right there. He had it. I love that they moved the pocket. I think that's the first thing I love about the play design here. He's got to throw. I think if he throws this ball right now to the sideline, he's got a completion. And then right here, just a little bit inaccurate. I think the receiver has got to come harder back to the football as well to give him a little bit more of an opportunity to make that completion. But nonetheless, it's going to be a 4th down.
Punt time again for the Wildcats. Chase Englehart to boot it away.
Chance Balst back there. You better look out. He gets his hands on it.
Balst is an electric punt returner. This one takes a generous Wildcats hop and trickles all the way across the 15-yard line, down at the 14.
Average field position right now for Mooresville is not great, right? First possession, they got it at their 25, and now they get it at their 14.5-yard line. Really nice job playing the field position game right now. If you're Lake Norman, they got a couple of first downs coming out of their own end zone, which is very key, so they could flip the field back in their favor.
I'll get a look at Brody Norman again. Football savvy Temple commit who is going to be a part of this year's Shrine Bowl. Norman fires across the middle. This time it's complete. Dominic Morin again, his second reception of the night. And on the crossing route that time.
Yeah, he just had a little bit of soft coverage out there at the top. He just works to the inside on a little bit of a slant. Pitch and catch, body works plus first down.
And Morin is so long. We mentioned 6'3", rangy senior. After his season last year for his class, had the highest amount of reception yards in the state of North Carolina. And, of course, has faced a lot of double coverage this year. Big pickup up the middle that time. Jadarius McCombs on his first carry of the night. Shot out of a cannon.
It was a matter of time before he got involved in this offense, and he's another one of those guys that's electric. He can really finish runs. He's got plenty of speed on the back end, great vision, but his ability between the tackles and outside, a very versatile running back. And you see right there on that run, a body works plus first down.
Fresh set of downs for the Blue Devils, who started at their own 14-yard line. Norman with time here, fires complete again. Dominic Morin, and they are having trouble with Morin right now.
Well, this is taking advantage of soft coverage, right? You've got off coverage out there by Jeremy Mitchell in a two-deep situation. So they're playing two high safeties, man coverage underneath. He's given a little ground. Instead, he should roll up, play a little more tight coverage, and trust his safety help over the top. Instead, he plays off. He gives up the slant inside.
Just over 90 seconds left to play first quarter here on our WCCB Game of the Week. Norman on play action, fires complete. Bost, who is speedy quick, hauls it in and moved the sticks again. Another Bodyworks Plus first down.
It's a great read. They just picked on number 41, Charlie Jones. They saw a situation where they've got their speed guy in a one-on-one situation, and they just picked on him. He just works to the inside against off coverage, and that's a Bodyworks Plus first down.
They'll line Bost up in that as a slot receiver. Good handoff up the middle to McCombs. Carrying, keeps the legs churning across the Lake Norman 20-yard line.
You know what I like about McCombs as you watch him? He's never late, right? He's never late. When the hole opens, he's there on time, and now all of a sudden, they're in the red zone.
We're in the NC Public Health red zone now.
How about Memphis Barb? Great job. They had Morin working on a slant route again. Likely would have been a touchdown. Memphis Barb doing a great job, works underneath it, gets his hand up and knocks it away. And now a couple of very late flags. I think these are going to be offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct fouls.
You mentioned Memphis Barb. That's a kid, we're going to call his name quite a bit. Junior linebacker that averages over 8.5 tackles per game for the Wildcats. Let's see what these two penalty flags.
I think they're going to get Reed Joyce for Lake Norman, and then they're going to get an offensive lineman for Mooresville. Didn't see exactly which one it was, so I don't want to call out the wrong name there, but these are going to likely be offsetting. You see officials writing things down. They're talking about unsportsmanlike conducts toward ejection, so they have to mark those down, because if you get two, you're disqualified.
We mentioned these two schools 7 miles apart, and they don't like each other. And a conference championship on the line here tonight, the North Piedmont 6A, 7A conference.
So they do offset. Here's the difference. Not sure who the unsportsmanlike was for Mooresville. That will count towards disqualification. It was a personal foul against Lake Norman, so that does not count towards disqualification. So a very important distinction there. So you've got a personal foul and an unsportsmanlike conduct, not offsetting unsportsmanlike. The penalty still offset, but that qualification towards disqualification, right, all of those words, essentially means if whoever that was gets another unsportsmanlike, they're done for the night.
All that said, 2nd and 10
from the same school
for the Mooresville Blue Devils, who are marching. Began this drive on their own 14-yard line. Handoff McCombs trying to find a crease. And gets across the 15.
Yeah, the timing a little off there. That wasn't the best snap. They had a little bit of an issue handling it. Brody Norman did, and that kind of messed up the timing of that play. Still were able to pick up 4+ yards, so that's a positive, but might have had a chance to do a little bit more.
3rd down and 6 coming up for Brody Norman and the Blue Devils.
Well, they got away with one. The Wildcats said they weren't lined up there. The Blue Devils had decided to snap the ball. They were in trouble, but instead they're going to let it go.
Now a timeout on the field. We'll take it with them on our WCCB Game of the Week. Mooresville marching timeout.
Coach Oliphant is absolutely on fire. But I think the reason it's not at anything but his own group in terms of being lined up. What they did is they came out a little, what you'd call it really an unbalanced formation. They had one of the offensive linemen split all the way out to the numbers. His guys didn't properly adjust. That's why he called the timeout. Great recognition by Coach O to get his guys under control and on the same page so they can handle that formation. Excellent job.
And you're going to look at the Mooresville huddle. Zach Mayo in year 2 as the head coach. His dad, a longtime head coach at Mount Pleasant High School. Talking with both these guys earlier today. Coach Oliphant, what a great job he's done here at Lake Norman High School over the years. He's in year 9 at the helm. And these two coaches, talking with them earlier, they know each other very well. They know their tendencies. And here we are in a conference championship clash here tonight.
How great was it talking to Coach Mayo? Not that it wasn't talking to Coach O, but Coach Mayo, like his story and the way he delivers and what he's doing and what he's about for these kids is absolutely phenomenal.
Norman, a little bit of time, flushed, cuts it back. Norman still on his feet and walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Blue Devils. And you're seeing exactly why Brody Norman is a Shrine Bowl nominee.
I'll tell you what, that run is like several things. It's athleticism, it's not panicking, but the main thing, I'm not sure that was, I'm pretty sure it was a design pass. But even when he wanted to run, I think he was just trying to scramble to find space. And then he had to make the decision to run the football just because he kind of went away from where he had help in terms of receivers. As you see, the extra point is good.
Booted straight through the uprights by Andrew Cummings. And Mooresville strikes first here in this North Piedmont Conference Championship. 7 seconds into the second quarter. Brody Norman with the touchdown run.
This is just a great job by Norman. He reads it. The pass rush is up the field. He's got nowhere to go, so he just tucks the football, takes off, and he's able to get in the one right there. He had it. I love that they moved the pocket. I think that's the first thing I love about the play design here. He's got to throw. I think if he throws this ball right now to the sideline, he's got a completion. And then right here, just a little bit inaccurate. I think the receiver has got to come harder back to the football as well to give him a little bit more of an opportunity to make that completion. But nonetheless, it's going to be a 4th down.
Punt time again for the Wildcats. Chase Englehart to boot it away.
Chance Bost back there. You better look out if he gets his hands on it.
Bost is an electric punt returner. This one takes a generous Wildcats hop and trickles all the way across the 15-yard line, down at the 14.
Average field position right now for Mooresville is not great, right? First possession, they got it at their 25, and now they get it at their 14.5-yard line. Really nice job playing the field position game right now. If you're Lake Norman, they got a couple of first downs coming out of their own end zone, which is very key, so they could flip the field back in their favor.
I'll get a look at Brody Norman again. Football savvy Temple commit who is going to be a part of this year's Shrine Bowl. Norman fires across the middle. This time it's complete. Dominic Moore in again, his second reception of the night. And on the crossing route that time.
Yeah, he just had a little bit of soft coverage out there at the top. He just works to the inside on a little bit of a slant. Pitch and catch, body works plus first down.
And Moore is so long. We mentioned 6'3", rangy senior. After his season last year for his class, had the highest amount of reception yards in the state of North Carolina. And, of course, has faced a lot of double coverage this year. Big pickup up the middle that time. Jadarius McCombs on his first carry of the night. Shot out of a cannon.
It was a matter of time before he got involved in this offense, and he's another one of those guys that's electric. He can really finish runs. He's got plenty of speed on the back end, great vision, but his ability between the tackles and outside, a very versatile running back. And you see right there on that run, a body works plus first down.
Fresh set of downs for the Blue Devils, who started at their own 14-yard line. Norman with time here. Fires complete again. Dominic Morin, and they are having trouble with Morin right now.
Well, this is taking advantage of soft coverage, right? You've got off coverage out there by Jeremy Mitchell in a two-deep situation. So they're playing two high safeties, man coverage underneath. He's given a little ground. Instead, he should roll up, play a little more tight coverage, and trust his safety help over the top. Instead, he plays off. He gives up the slant inside. Just
over 90 seconds left to play first quarter here on our WCCB Game of the Week. Norman on play action, fires complete. Bost, who is speedy quick, hauls it in and moved the sticks again. Another Bodyworks Plus first down.
It's a great read. They just picked on number 41, Charlie Jones. They saw a situation where they've got their speed guy in a one-on-one situation, and they just picked on him. He just works to the inside against off coverage, and that's a Bodyworks Plus first down.
They'll line Bost up in that as a slot receiver. Good handoff up the middle to McCombs. Carrying, keeps the legs churning across the Lake Norman 20-yard line.
You know what I like about McCombs as you watch him? He's never late, right? He's never late. When the hole opens, he's there on time, and now all of a sudden, they're in the red zone.
We're in the NC Public Health red zone now.
How about Memphis Barb? Great job. They had Morin working on a slant route again. Likely would have been a touchdown. Memphis Barb doing a great job, works underneath it, gets his hand up and knocks it away. And now a couple of very late flags. I think these are going to be offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct fouls.
You mentioned Memphis Barb. That's a kid, we're going to call his name quite a bit. Junior linebacker that averages over 8.5 tackles per game.
So it kind of looked a little bit worse than it was. But nonetheless, it's going to cost the Blue Devils 15 yards.
So Mooresville, as we take a look at our speed check, Keegan McClure, kid to pay attention to, 15 tackles at corner, a lockdown corner for Lake Norman.
And a blur. He can run anything down as McCombs works off that left side, picks up a few yards there. And that's what's going to be important. Can the running game be consistent, really, for both teams in this game?
Darius McCombs has been really good. Did not touch it the first drive for Mooresville, and then has really just given the Blue Devils the spark. Came into this game averaging 88 yards per contest on the ground. Pick up of 5 that time. Second down and 5 for Norman and the Blue Devils. With time, looking for the deep ball, and picked off, intercepted. Jeremy Mitchell, his third INT of the season. And just the spark that the Wildcats needed, Reggie.
Yeah, it really was. I was just getting ready to make a point about Jalen Glover, number 12, the free safety. He's in the middle of the field. He came up a little bit lame on that previous play. He does an excellent job holding down the middle of the field. So, of course, what happens, Norman tries to throw the ball to the outside, away from that safety help to the inside, and nobody's there but Mitchell because Bost is working to the middle of the field. That's a great job in tandem combo coverage in the back end by Mitchell and Glover.
Caden Kraft in the Lake Norman offense. Back out on the field. Big-time interception from Mitchell, his third of the year. Out into the flat. This one caught. Zipadelli along the sideline. Flag comes in close to midfield as he's ushered out of bounds.
This is either going to be a hold or a face mask. This will be interesting to see. But it was after the catch, so it'll be from the spot. So they're going to get some positive yards if it's a hold. Likely will not take them too much farther back. It'll end up being probably like a 1st and 15 or 17 or something.
It is indeed on the Wildcats. It's going to back them up.
They do a great job, bottom of the screen. See, everything's fine here. Blocks are good, but I think what they get right there at the bottom against Pegram, I believe. Yep, it's against Pegram. I think that's Noah Jacobson they get on the hold there, and it's going to end up right because of where the ball was caught. Right, it's going to end up being a 1st and 8.
First down and 8 to go.
Exactly that. 1st and 8 for the Wildcats. Kraft, clean pocket, looking up top, trying to connect with Jacobson, and just incomplete.
Good design, good read. Got to execute the throw better. Give your guy a chance to stay in bounds. Even if he catches this football, he's out of bounds. Kraft has got to put this more up the field and a little bit less toward that sideline. He threw his guy out of bounds that time.
2nd and long upcoming for the Wildcats. And both these teams have played 2 of the top non-conference schedules. When we talked about Mooresville and, of course, Lake Norman testing themselves. They're 7-2 on the year. Both teams top 10 in 7A rankings. This one complete. Caldwell on the catch and ushered out of bounds.
It's going to set up like a 3rd and 3.
Yeah. He's ushered out of bounds.
Amir
Childs is going to leave, and number 7, Jace McCollum, comes back in. The defensive lineman. I think here Nordveit has got to be a factor here. I think if you can get it to him, potentially just out in the flat, he should be able to pick up the first down, but they'll likely, in my opinion, hand him the football.
It's a 3rd and 2 for the Wildcats. Kraft going to keep this one himself, trying to keep the legs churning. Close to the marker.
Yeah, KJ Gillespie blew that play up. And they were trying to influence Gillespie. They're going to go for it anyway. They were trying to influence Gillespie with the motion by Nordveit. He ignored it completely, flew up the field, and makes that big-time play. And are they?
Wow, they're going to say first down. He was close to the marker, and the chains are moving. Zach Mayo is beside himself.
Wow.
First and 10, a Bodyworks plus first down for the Wildcats. Handoff, Nordveit plunging up the middle, and a flag flies late.
Yeah, they're going to get Jace McCollum on a face mask. That left hand of Jace McCollum, as Nordveit worked up the field, the left hand got in there, turned that head just enough, and the head linesman, or the line judge, I should say, on the near side, noticed it right away through the flag. That's going to be a face mask, automatic first down.
Wow. Just when Mooresville thought that they have had Lake Norman stuffed on 3rd and short, it ends up being a first down Lake Norman, and now a face mask penalty
for another first down.
Bodyworks plus first down for the Wildcats, and all the way to the 36-yard line in Mooresville territory.
And this is where, again, we talked about it at the beginning of the drive. If you're Lake Norman, you have to finish this drive with a touchdown. The penalties are keeping you in it. You're fortunate on a spot on a 3rd down as well. Have to find a way to get points here.
In motion goes Caldwell. Low snap again for Kraft. He hands it off to Nordveit. And a pickup of a couple of yards for Jaden Nordveit. Kid that Coach Oliphant said he'll get you those 3-4 yards when you need him. A different type of back than Bruno Jones, who is no longer with the team, but Nordveit, solid first half so far for the Wildcats.
Yeah, his helmet came off there, so he's going to have to come off the field. So now you've got Bryson Pullman, I should say, in there at the running back spot. Different type of back, but certainly a really good pass protector.
Kraft flushed, pursued, and throws it away. And he takes a big lick that time by Tanner Finnerty, an all-conference linebacker from a year ago for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, and we talked about Pullman. Look at him up here. He gets 2 blocks, does a nice job creating a little bit of extra time so that Kraft could get rid of the football and not take a sack there.
Another 3rd and long coming up for the Wildcats of Lake Norman. What are you calling here if you're offensive coordinator Jay Sneely, Reggie?
Yeah, you probably I think you're looking to get the ball to your back out in the flat to the 3 receiver side, a little bit of a screen. You got numbers out there.
Kraft rolling with time, fires, intercepted! Right into the hands of Jordan Cleaves, down the near sideline and close to midfield. And there is a flag down.
I think this is going to be likely a penalty on Mooresville after the interception for maybe a blindside block potentially down there around the 20-yard line. Wow. And that's exactly the indication, a blindside block. So right where, and you'll see it at the top of your screen, he rolls out to the right. He's trying to push the ball to the intermediate receiver, overthrows him slightly, and Cleaves is waiting for it. And there's the blindside block right behind him, right at the 20-yard line. Flag comes in, so it's going to be a half the distance from there. So it'll take it back to likely around the 10-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10, Blue Devils on their own 10-yard line.
7:09 left to play in the first half in the North Piedmont Conference Championship. We'll be right back on our WCCB Game of the Week. Championship. We'll be right back on our WCCB Game of the Week. The 11-yard line where the Blue Devils offense will take over, leading 7-0 in the North Piedmont Conference Championship. They hand it off on first down up the middle, and Lake Norman gets in there to make the stop. A swarm of black jerseys.
And that's, you said it right, because that's what they do on this defense. They swarm to the football. You get all hats on the move to the ball. As soon as that ball is either thrown or handed off, you see a bunch of guys flying around. That's what this defense is all about.
Pickup of 2 yards. 2nd down and 8. Brody Norman with the touchdown run. That's been our lone touchdown so far. Handoff, McCombs again trying to burst to the outside, still on his feet. And McCombs finally wrestled down a couple yards shy of the 20.
It's a really good play. I think, yeah, it's number 18 on the edge there, Keyshawn Morrison. Look at him continue to pursue and finish that play. That's really, really well done by him. Excellent multiple effort on one snap.
Combs, tough kid to bring down. We've seen that tonight, especially on that initial hit. 3rd down and 3 for the Blue Devils. McCombs goes in motion. Norman going to tuck and go. Enough for the 1st down, plus plenty more. And Norman tripped up by his own teammate at the 30. And it's enough to move the sticks for Mooresville.
Show him the wiggle. Look, watch this play right here. You see Morrison's there, and he just can't get his hands on him. And all of a sudden, Norman shows off the quickness, the ability to change direction, and it's a Bodyworks plus 1st down.
And Brody Norman, dual threat, and the ability to make something with his legs. We've seen that on full display here in the 1st half. Just over 5 minutes left to play in the 2nd quarter. Fakes the handoff this time, fires complete, near sideline to Balst. Look out, and he's finally ushered out of bounds.
That's a triple option play. That's all that is. It looks like a counter going left. Then they're going to keep it with Brody Norman. He gets pressure, so he's got a safety valve to release that ball out in the flat to Chance Balst, and they pick up nice yardage to move the chains that time. So that's really, really well executed. It's basically a triple option play. You look at, right, they're trying to give you the full flow away in terms of the counter play, and then you come back with a quarterback run with a pitch option outside to the right.
They hand this one up the middle this time. Evan Young on the carry, trying to spin his way to extra yardage, and met and taken down.
Mitchell's trying to say it's Lake Norman football, and the officials say, no, he was down. See it again here. This is a great job. Glover comes flying down. Look at him come flying in from that safety spot. I tell you what, he was close to ripping that ball out, but I agree with the officials. He was down before that ball came loose.
2nd down and 8 from the 45-yard line for the Blue Devils.
That's the 2nd time Glover has came flying down from that safety spot and shown up in that run defense. It's a great fit, great alley play by him.
Norman pressured, fires across the middle, complete. He finds Balst, and a flag comes in late at the 40.
Keyshawn Morrison got blindside. There was a blindside block on Morrison, and that's what the penalty is going to be. He's down around midfield. There was an offensive lineman, I believe, that peeled back and absolutely lit him up, and that's what the penalty is going to be. He's right in front of the white hat referee. He's the one that threw the flag. And there's the indication.
Reggie, you're 4 for 4. Good eyes from upstairs in the booth. So back up the Blue Devils. Wow.
And Coach O is not happy. It's another one of those blindside deals. And I think most of the time it's kids trying to make a play and kind of lose sight of the rules, trying to make a block. And that's something they're legislating out of the game, and that 15-yarder really, really impacts what this offense is trying to do.
Under 4 minutes left to go, 2nd quarter. 2nd and 24. Norman pressured. Norman going to cut it back up the middle and picks up a few yards that time with his legs. But 3rd and a mile coming up for the Blue Devils.
Watch Ewald here, number 11. He does a great job. He's pushing up the field, and then he peels off, gets held maybe a little bit, and he's still able to come back and make that tackle. That's well done by the big defensive lineman, Dylan Ewald. I like that kind of effort. I like that recognition, right? He's bull rushing up the middle. He realizes the quarterback's getting free, comes off, he sheds, and he's able to make a play a couple of yards up the field to set up a 3rd and forever. This is 3rd and Kendall Lewis's address here.
Long way. Norman pressured. Norman nowhere to go, and hit out of bounds.
This kid, Jalen Glover, are you kidding me?
Everywhere.
Number 12. Look at 12 on this play defensively. Watch him come flying in from the right side of your screen. As Norman starts to work to the outside, you're going to see all of a sudden a flash come from the right there. And all of a sudden, Norman can't set up the throw, but the quickness by Glover as well to push him out of bounds. Norman can't outrun him. That's really well done. That's how you play that free safety position and come downhill and make plays near the line of scrimmage.
Glover, a kid that came in leading this team at 10 tackles per game. He has been everywhere. And the Wildcats may have got a piece of that, but it takes a generous bounce.
Memphis Barb got a piece of that punt because he ran into the punter, and the official immediately signaled that that ball was tipped, so contact is allowed. We'll see it again here. Well, that's the return side of things, but Barb comes essentially right up the middle, gets his arms up, gets a piece of the punt, and then kind of lands. You see right here. See, he gets a piece of that, and then he runs into the punter, but because he touched it, running into the kicker is off.
7-0 Mooresville lead, and Caden Kraft and the Lake Norman Wildcats take over. This one just through the hands of Doc Caldwell, and incomplete.
And if Doc Caldwell makes that catch and turns up the field, it's him, a teammate of a receiver, I think it was Zipadelli out in front, and one defender. And then there was a chance for a huge play. He's just unable to bring it in. I think he recognized that, and he knew if he was able to turn, he had a big play waiting for him, and forgot to bring the football in.
And a timeout here at the 2:34 mark of the second quarter. And we'll keep it right here in the North Piedmont Conference Championship clash on our WCCB Game of the Week. We're glad that you're with us on WCCB TV tonight. Kendall Lewis, Reggie Walker here with you. The final week of regular season play in the state of North Carolina. We talked about it, Reggie. These two teams, top 10 in the state, the latest 7A rankings. It looks right now, when you look at these playoff projections, that both teams will have a bye next week as we get a look at the replay.
Take a look out here to the right. If he makes this catch, there's two defenders. Now, he's got one receiver in front, and there are no defenders. There's one guy back there. There's an opportunity for a huge play for Lake Norman, a missed opportunity again. Not to pile on the kid, right? But this is an opportunity missed in a game that points are at a premium. That's a one-on-one situation on the backside with the receiver to potentially help and get you a block. In this kind of a game, a defensive struggle, those are the plays you don't want to leave out there.
First year of 8 classifications in the state of North Carolina. As we were talking, these two teams, top 10 in the state, in good shape to host a playoff game in a couple of weeks, as Kraft tries to tuck and go along the near sideline and gets ushered out of bounds. And a flag is down.
To your point, I would not want to be the visiting team to play either one of these teams early in the play.
We talked about their RPI rankings. They're 7-2 in both teams, and this is against the offense.
It's a chop block. That's major. See if we can see it somewhere in the middle here. Yeah, there it is. And it's against, they were trying to block number 44, Dave DeLeo. I think that was a tight end to the outside there. Tried to get him low while he was engaged high. That's an automatic. Again, just like the blindside block, they want to keep those chop blocks from happening. You go high and low against the same guy when he's engaged high, it's going to be an automatic penalty, and they got him there.
This moves it all the way back.
See, now
the Lake Norman 19. It's 2nd and 25 for the Wildcats.
Yeah, now you got to be careful with the football. You can't make a mistake here.
Handoff, Nordevite fighting for yardage, and wrapped up and taken down. David DeLeo, the senior, with the tackle for the Blue Devils.
Right here, if you're Lake Norman, you are in no hurry. You are trying to take as much time off of this clock as you possibly can because of the field position. The last thing you want to do is give the ball back to Mooresville in really good field position. So worst case scenario, you chew up the clock. And if you do give it back, you minimize the amount of time they have. And hopefully you can get the ball on the other side of midfield, so they got to come from negative territory.
Play clock at 3. Kraft takes the snap. Lost the football. Picked up. And recovered by the Blue Devils. Jeremiah Mitchell. Camden Gillespie, the West Virginia commit, with the fumble recovery. Wow.
Yeah, this is what we just talked about. You got to protect the football. He's trying to cut inside, and he just hits Nordveit in the back with the right arm, which has the ball in it, and that's what jarred it loose. Watch it again here. See, he's cutting up inside, and he runs into his own man and just drops the football.
Camden Gillespie with the fumble recovery. And we're in the NC Public Health red zone with 1:19 to go with the Blue Devils.
This is a gift if you're a Blue Devils fan.
And a flag flies pre-snap.
Yeah, they shifted to what looked like almost an unbalanced formation out to the right. And Lake Norman did not adjust well to it. So we'll see what the call is here, if it's a false start or if it's an encroachment by the defense causing the offensive lineman.
Officials talking about this one.
And they're going to go offsides. Coach offense all the way out to the numbers. You see it again here. See, they're lined up. And then there's a shift, and it creates a situation to where I think couldn't tell the number there. Might have been Brooks Butler, number 15, the linebacker. He moved.
Norman tucks it and walks into the end zone again. A 5-yard TD run for Brody Norman, the Temple commit. And he extends the lead, 13-0 Blue Devils, late second quarter after the fumble recovery.
Again, you see Norman, this is all quarterback design. This is just quarterback power. He's got the back working to one side, then he's got the offensive lineman, number 61, coming across to lead the way there. Case Ryan, I should say. He comes and leads the way, just follows behind him off the kick-out block, get up inside, and it's a walk-in 5-yard touchdown, 2-touchdown lead going into the half.
Extra point is up and through for Andrew Cummings. 14-0 lead for the Blue Devils. And we'll take a second look at the Brody Norman touchdown run.
Yeah, it's a great job by Ryan, number 65. Comes across, kicks out hard, and Norman just follows him and works off of that block and gets in the end zone. And you see who's the first guy there to celebrate with him? The big guy, Ryan. Makes the block. He knew it. He knew how important his block was on that play. And they celebrate together. That's a big turn of events here late in the second quarter.
Folks, this kickoff powered by Queen City Home Store, where you're always home. And we mentioned that fumble recovery by Camden Gillespie sets up the Brody Norman touchdown run to extend the lead with 1:15 left to play in the second quarter. Cummings set to boot it away. This one taken from the 2-yard line. Jeremy Mitchell, a dangerous returner, but that time Mooresville with, it's lost his footing a little bit just across the 15-yard line. Lake Norman shot themselves in the foot a few times, Reggie, here. They've shown they can move the football in this Mooresville defense, but just have not been able to complete a drive yet.
This is a defining stretch here for Caden Kraft. His last two possessions, he's turned the football. Interception and then the fumble. How does he respond here? I think he'll respond well. This is a big spot and a big opportunity.
Caldwell goes in motion. Kraft tucks and tackled from behind, close to the 25-yard line. Clock continues to tick here, 55 seconds.
Tackle made by number 5, Jeremiah Carter.
Still got 2 timeouts as well, so they've got time. I think this is where you got to be smart enough and remember to use the middle of the football field.
Pickup of 7 on a quarterback scamper by Kraft, looking for the deep ball, and just overshoots his man, Zipadelli.
Yeah, that's a situation. I think you throw that ball a little more underneath, almost like an over or a dig route type, where he comes all the way across the field instead of working still vertical on that post route. You might be able to complete that because the corner was up over the top, if you will, of that route. But what I was saying is, one thing about high school football you can't ever forget, the clock stops on first downs. Right? So if they want to give you the middle of the field, take it, as long as it's 15-yard chunks and you can march right down the field.
It's a 3rd and 3 for Kraft. Looking deep again. Wow. And there come the flags. We have pass interference on Mooresville.
How about the officials right there? 2 officials showing, maybe you wonder if they got eligibility left because the arm throwing those flags, both of them threw them from about 20 yards.
Couldn't have walked out there and placed them any closer. And the flags right at midfield.
The back judge, and I think that was a linesman maybe that threw the flag.
And just what the Wildcats needed here, the 27 seconds.
See it again here. It's the bottom of the screen here. It's basically a slot fade to Jacobson. And the defender there just basically, he just stopped. And Jacobson kind of ran right into him. That was Blake Myers, number 24. And that's 15 and a first down. And again, if I'm the Wildcats right here, I'm looking, what can I get deep over the middle of the football field? They got Nordveit lined up as like a wing here. Maybe you sneak him up the seam and you can get something big here.
Kraft rolling to his right. Kraft pressured, eludes one tackler, fires down the sideline, and just incomplete.
I think Kraft might have moved too far. He went too far to the outside. See, right here, he starts working to the right, stop right there, and he'd be fine. He'd have plenty of space. But he kept working to the outside. That allowed the extra defender, that time Maddox Blackburn, to show up and force him to make an errant throw. That's just a field thing. Kraft is still young. He'll look at the tape and see that and understand, you know what, if I set up right there, I might have a chance to push the ball down the field and create a big play.
Game clock at 18 seconds now left to play in the first half. Kendall Lewis, Reggie Walker here with you on WCCB TV. Kraft, no time at all. Escapes a couple of tacklers and finally wrestled down Charles Sayer, the sophomore, who has a bright future, wraps up Kraft. And that's our Queen City Home Store legendary tackle.
Yeah, it's just really well done at first by Kraft, but the second effort, third effort that time by Sayer makes the play. That sophomore is going to be a really good football player. He continues to develop the way he is, and you got to give a ton of credit to defensive coordinator Steve Williams, who he really knows what he's doing defensively. They got a good scheme, good plan. He's won everywhere he's been, was a part of that Huff staff for a long time that won a ton of games. He really understands football. That staff at Huff, especially when Coach Williams was there, he and Chachi Sullivan and all those guys on that defensive side, there's so many great coaches over there. Even you think about Jonathan Simmons, who's now the head coach down at Palisades. He was also a part of that staff. So a phenomenal staff of guys. Matt Jenkins was the head coach. Now he's coaching over in Rowan County now. So
West Cabarrus.
I should say West Cabarrus. Yeah, Cabarrus County. So just a litany of coaches all over the area that came through that staff, through that tree.
Well, and how about Zach Mayo telling us earlier that this is a team that switched defensive schemes in the offseason, and it has paid off big time for the Blue Devils. vying for a conference championship tonight. Game clock at 7 seconds for the Wildcats. Kraft, no time at all. Escapes pressure. Kraft, enough for the first down, gets tripped up as the clock's going to expire. And that will do it for the first half of play in the North Piedmont Conference Championship on WCCB TV. A couple of touchdown runs by the quarterback, Brody Norman of Mooresville, and some big-time plays on defense, and the Blue Devils lead it 14-0. We'll be back on our halftime report here in just a few moments. Let's catch up with Kendall Chatterton of Marvin Ridge women's basketball on our feature this week on WCCB TV.
I'm Kendall Chatterton, and I'm a junior at Marvin Ridge High School. I play forward on varsity. I've been playing basketball for about 10 years, but about 8 of those have been on rec and not very serious. And then these past few years I've been playing on AAU and really starting to take the sport seriously. I'm 6'3", and yes, the weather's better up here. My dad, he played basketball in college, D3, and he really wanted me to play, and so he put a basketball in my hands as young as possible.
So Kendall has an interesting kind of history and background in terms of basketball. It's probably around the age of 2 to 3. We had one of those little tiny Nerf hoops baskets in the living room.
It was like a little tiny foam ball that you could just shoot on one of those small hoops.
Yeah, she'd run up and kind of shoot and dunk on that hoop and stuff.
I feel like it sparked my interest a little bit, even at that young of an age.
So I played basketball through college. I played at a Division III school in New York. I really thought I wanted to get a basketball in Kendall's hands because I love the game. I think that it's an amazing game.
I grew up playing a lot of soccer. Played that until about 8th grade. And I also played softball. And then, I did a little bit of volleyball in middle school, but I didn't really like it as much as basketball. So that's why basketball really stuck with me.
She grew 5 inches in 1 year, and so that kind of helped her to make the decision to really focus solely on basketball.
So I decided I wanted to follow my dad's footsteps and play basketball. My freshman year, I was on JV. At the end of the season, I really decided that I needed to be better if I wanted to be on varsity. So I found an AAU team that would take me. I eventually made it to the starting 5 by the end of the year. And so when high school came around, I shocked everyone on my team, my coaches. Then by the end of the summer league and fall league, my coach put me on full-time varsity, and I was able to be an all-conference player. My coach, his name's Coach Lenahan. He's a really great coach. Even when I was still on JV, he was always encouraging me that I could get better. He was always pushing me to work harder, and I think he was a big part of me really wanting to pursue basketball.
Kendall's amazing. When I started here 6 years ago, I got to watch her in the middle school program. She played here as a freshman on the JV team. Last year, first year on varsity, came in and made a huge impact for us. She alters shots, she blocks shots. She makes it very difficult for teams to get in the paint and get a good look.
My teammates think that I'm pretty quiet off the court, but then once I get on the court, I'm really talking with my actions. They think that I'm really dedicated, and that's what I want. I want to be seen as someone who tries and comes in every day and just goes to work.
I think Kendall's teammates and coaches view her pretty similar, actually. She's a kid that just comes to practice every day, gives her all. I think that she earns the respect from her coaches, respect from her teammates, and I think they're starting to be able to trust what she can do as she's kind of growing and through the evolution of her game.
Yeah, Kendall's teammates, I think, look up to her, not just literally, but if you watch the way they interact, Kendall's a very quiet player. She leads by example. I imagine if I asked Kendall's teammates, they would all have good things to say about her.
So my high school team, we made it to the Elite Eight for the first time ever in high school history. We won our conference tournament for the 4th time in a row, so we're 4-peat champions. And then we were undefeated in conference this year.
We have won 4 conference titles. That was the last 4 years, actually, and we're hoping to make it a 5th this year. Kendall played a bunch of huge parts in our last championship win. Her role on this team is extremely important, and we try to preach that we can't have 7 scorers on the floor. And so Kendall never really had to talk to her about it. She just kind of has one of those personalities. She's a team player. She's unselfish, getting other people open, increasing the culture of the team, keeping everybody positive and upbeat. Every team would want a Kendall on their team. If I could have 5 Kendalls on my team, I'd take 5 Kendalls on my team.
I think Kendall can take it really as far as she wants. I think her ceiling is extremely high. I've seen just tremendous growth over the past 2 years. If she believes in her abilities and puts in the work, I don't see a cap on her ability.
Kendall, I'm hoping that you have an outstanding junior year. I think you've worked hard and you've done everything we've asked. It's been great to see you progress as a basketball player and a person. I wish, like I said earlier, I could clone you and have multiple Kendalls on the team every year, and I hope you get all the offers that you want.
I'm Kendall Chatterton, and this is my Varsity Spotlight.
Jonathan and her sister Cora.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Queen City Home Store, your whole home destination. North Carolina Public Health. We are NC Public Health. Everywhere, every day, everybody. Be sure to visit www.ncdhhs.gov. Bodyworks Plus Collision Repair Center, keeping families safe since 1998. And last but not least, Fred Caldwell Chevrolet, home of the Silverado guys. Visit fredcaldwellchevy.com. Mooresville leading Lake Norman 14-0 on our WCCB Game of the Week tonight, and vying for a North Piedmont Conference Championship. And, of course, both of these teams comfortably in the 7A rankings in the top 10, looking at first-round byes and home playoff host. We'll be right back with the second half and more. Mooresville leading Lake Norman 14-0 on our WCCB Game of the Week. As we come back to you here on WCCB TV. Glad you're tuned in with us from wherever you may be tonight for this North Piedmont Conference Championship. And speaking of the Blue Devils, a couple of Shrine Bowl selections this year. You know about the quarterback, Brody Norman, who we told you is heading to play for Temple in the American. And you've seen the 2 touchdown runs and his ability as a dual threat in this first half. And how about Gavin Barber, the tight end / H-back for Mooresville. He's been the security blanket all season long, 6'3", 235 pounds, averaging 88 reception yards a ball game coming in to tonight. And that's a kid that is a special talent and has been a special player within his high school career here for the Mooresville Blue Devils, and trying to cap it off with a conference championship here tonight on WCCB TV. We've got plenty more coming up in the second half on the way right after these messages. Mooresville leading Lake Norman 14-0 here on WCCB TV in our North Piedmont Conference Championship game. And the Blue Devils capitalizing off turnovers, the big storyline in the first half. They lead it 2 touchdowns. We've got replays in second half coming up. Stay with us on WCCB TV.
Seems like attorneys from all over the country are asking you to call them when you're injured.
Call them and your case could end up in New York or Florida. Call the heavy hitters and your case will be handled right here in North Carolina.
1-800-LAW-0804.
Guys, I've got big news. We are back.
This is so dramatic.
It is very dramatic. It's your favorite show with your favorite people.
The gang's all back together. Wait, hold on. That makes me a favorite person?
I'm Morgan Fogarty.
I'm Fred.
And I'm Ashley Anderson. And this is all of the news of the day that you will not want to scroll past.
Yeah, we promise you'll be talking about it tomorrow.
WCCB News Edge, weeknights at 10:30 on WCCB Charlotte.
You know us.
I hope you love us. We're back.
for business.
Welcome back to Lake Norman High School tonight for the North Piedmont Conference Championship, our WCCB TV Game of the Week. Let's take a look at some highlights from the first half. And Brody Norman, the 2 touchdown runs. We mentioned before the Blue Devils, Reggie, capitalizing off the Lake Norman turnovers. That was the big storyline.
Yeah, a couple of turnovers. Unfortunately for Caden Kraft, he threw an interception and then fumbled late in the half. Both led to touchdown runs by Brody Norman, which were humongous in this football game. Largely, it's been very much a defensive struggle. There you see the fumble there. Both defenses have played really well. The offenses have had trouble consistently moving the football against both of these defenses.
Big Camden Gillespie, the defensive end, with the fumble recovery for Mooresville. He's heading to West Virginia, and then Brody Norman on the quarterback design run scampers into the end zone to make it a 14-0 Mooresville lead. And we are ready to start the second half. It's interesting to see what type of adjustments are made by the Wildcats of Lake Norman in this second half. And it showed that they could move the football against Mooresville's stingy defense in the first half. Just couldn't complete a drive. This kickoff powered by Queen City Home Store. Folks, remember, you are always at home with Queen City Home Store.
Let's get the second half of football underway as we get ready to compete for the NPC Conference Championship.
Big crowd on hand tonight, always is with these two, but the implications. Look at this to start the third quarter.
Anytime you're dealing with Coach Oliphant and Lake Norman, you better be on high alert for something.
This one pushed over toward the 20, and hobbling out of bounds is Jordan Cleaves. Got a little bit of a limp. Just kind of scampered out of bounds at the 25.
Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's slow to get off the field.
He's one of their best cover guys, so we'll see if he's able to be out there when they get the ball back defensively. Maybe just cramped up a little bit. You hope it's something that he can recover from and get back in this ball game.
Big opportunity here for Mooresville to start the second half, leading 14-0. Brody Norman, the Shrine Bowl selection, sends Balst in motion. On the end around Balst, plenty of speed and a nice pickup on the first play from scrimmage to start the third quarter.
Yeah, something we hadn't seen in the first half. Anything like this, really trying to get on the edge with some kind of a reverse or jet sweep type look, so they change it up, something different, see how well this defense is willing to run here to start this second half. And they get a nice gain there on first down to set up a second and short. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to take a shot with Moore in here down at the bottom.
Pickup of 9 for Balst. It's a handoff to Jadarius McCombs. Enough for the first down and extra yardage. And now it's getting chippy over on the Mooresville sideline, but it's a Bodyworks plus first down.
It's a matter of time before in a game like this it gets a little chippy. As you see McCombs there taking off the tape there, if as they call it, they're off of his arms. Had that on throughout that first half. Took that off. And
it was interesting in the first half. McCombs did not touch it on the first possession. He has been the spark plug, if you will, for Mooresville's offense. Norman looking down the sideline, picked off, intercepted. Jeremy Mitchell, his second INT of the night.
And Brody Norman's just got to make a better decision here. You're going out of bounds. Just throw this football away. Instead, he tries to get a little aggressive. He's looking for Barber up the sideline and just throws it right into the chest of Mitchell.
That's 4 interceptions on the season for Jeremy Mitchell. And Lake Norman takes over with 11:07 to play, third quarter. Kraft on 1st and 10, fires complete to Noah Jacobson.
Yeah, that's a nice job. Just run a nice little curl route, go sit down in front of the man defender, safety over the top, man underneath, man coverage underneath, I should say. You just find that little groove, little space, and pick up the first down. That's well executed.
All of a sudden, life from the Wildcats. Jacobson in motion. Handoff, Nordevite fighting for yardage and quickly wrapped up and taken down by the Blue Devils.
They got to get Gillespie blocked. I keep talking about this. Watch Gillespie at the top. He's on the backside. He sees flow away, and he attacks it. They've got to make sure they cut off the backside of this defensive front. That's what's been slowing down a lot of these running plays where offensive linemen are moving and pulling. These defensive linemen are just following those guys and chasing those plays down. Misdirection got to be coming at some point.
No gain that time for Nordevite. 2nd and 10 for Kraft. Kraft, nowhere to go, tucks it and runs and picks up good yardage on 2nd and long and taken down in plus territory.
That's a nice play by Kraft. Pulls that ball down because nobody's open, and he just gets as much as he can to set up a very manageable third down. This might even be 4-down territory for Coach O in this offense. They're in plus territory. A punt doesn't do you much in terms of field position either.
3rd down and 4 coming up for the Wildcats of Lake Norman.
They got soft coverage down here at the bottom of the screen, maybe a slant that gets them a first down here.
Kraft going to keep this one himself. Kraft.
He got it.
Got the first down.
Jace McCollum, that's a nice play defensively. Watch number 7 here, right to the left of your screen. He takes on the block, long arms it, does a great job, and then works back inside to make that play. Couldn't prevent the first down, but that's well done by a defensive lineman, an edge type of player. He sets the edge to the outside, keeps Kraft from turning the corner, and then works back inside to make the tackle.
Move the sticks again for Caden Kraft, the multi-sport athlete here at Lake Norman. Polished basketball talent for the Wildcats as well. Handoff, Nordevite with running room. Nordevite bulldozes his way to the 30.
And you just knew at some point, right? They go back to a quick hitting, right? They bring the offensive linemen, but they do a better job cutting off that backside. They don't allow it to be chased down from behind. And Nordevite with the nice run for first down.
Boys, nice pickup for Jaden Nordevite, who's been big tonight with no Bruno Jones for Lake Norman. They go back to Nordevite. Running room, Nordevite, a whole lot of turf, and into the end zone. It's a Wildcats touchdown. And all of a sudden, things getting spooky here at Lake Norman.
Nordevite, that's a great job. He works off to the left, and he's able to turn the corner. He got a great block on the outside, one of those wide receivers, and he finishes the run because there's nobody out there to keep him from the end zone.
On for the PAT, Chase Englehart. Clean snap, and he boots it right through. Wow. Lake Norman capitalizes after the Jeremy Mitchell interception. Jaden Nordevite to the house, and we got a 14-7 ball game.
Yeah, you see it. That's a great job there. And then at the bottom of the screen, Jacobson got a nice block to keep any help from that corner, that secondary, from making the play there. All of a sudden, you got a one-touchdown game, 14-7, 8:16 to go.
Big touchdown run for the Lake Norman Wildcats, and they've trimmed the deficit 14-7 here early in the third quarter. Kendall Lewis, Reggie Walker on our WCCB TV Game of the Week. And Chase Englehart has it teed up. And Reggie, you've mentioned it with
something's coming. I'm telling you right now. I don't know when.
It's brewing here on Halloween night with special teams.
Well, it ain't just Halloween. It's Coach Oliphant in the flesh, baby. He's going to do something.
This one hopped at the 25. And Lake Norman quickly rushes in. Right into the hands of Gavin Pegram of Mooresville. And now he's hobbling off the field.
Coach Oliphant is the king of the trickeration.
You know what? Jordan Cleaves was hobbling and was not on that side of the field. And now look, Pegram is down. He's hobbling.
Yeah, that's another one of these DBs, another one of their speed merchants. You wonder, listen, it was a little bit longer of a halftime than normal. The temperatures here, tomorrow is November. Right. And obviously Halloween night tonight, so there's that. It's pretty brisk out here in terms of a wind. We can see from the flags. So you've got a little bit of a wind. You've got a drop in temperatures, and you had a 20-plus minute halftime because of senior night. That could have an impact on keeping guys warm, legs fresh, and muscles loose.
Brody Norman and Mooresville back out. They'll start things from their own 32-yard line. Handoff, McCombs trying to stay on his feet, wrapped up and taken back for a loss.
Well, he did well just to hold on to the football. It looked like a couple of different times that ball was going to pop loose. Watch him again here, working to the left. Right there, that ball's kind of out there like a loaf of bread. Hey, young fella, put that football away. The last thing you need is a turnover right here. And Glover, once again, out of that safety spot, just making plays.
Loss of one. It'll be a 2nd and 11 for Brody Norman and the Blue Devils. They go back to McCombs again. McCombs, big carry that time. Nice pickup on 2nd and long. McCombs has been a spark plug for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, he really has, running the football really hard and sets up a 3rd and short situation here.
Norman fakes the handoff. He'll keep this one. Enough for the first down, and he scampers out of bounds.
That's a great job by Norman, just improvising off of essentially a poor snap. This is not a good snap on this play. We'll take another look here. See, that ball's high. The timing is bad for the misdirection, faking that handoff to the left side. So he just takes off. That's a great job, not panicking, improvising, being in the moment and making a play to pick up a Bodyworks Plus first down.
Fresh set of downs for the Blue Devils. At a 14-0 lead if you're just tuning in with us at halftime. Norman with an interception early in the third quarter. He goes McCombs here up the middle, and look at this Lake Norman defensive front.
Memphis Barb. Oof. That kid has been a stud for 3 years on this defense. Watch number one, just fill and drive the legs. That is well executed, and he knows how important that play was to this football game. Now it's a 2nd and long. And again, this is not where Mooresville wanted to be offensively. Coach Mayo talked about dominating first down, unable to do it on that particular situation. This 3-3 stack defense playing pretty well for Mooresville. Or I should say Lake Norman.
Norman fires out into the flat and immediately wrapped up as McCombs and taken back for a loss.
Great recognition by Mason Hefner, number 0. He's the flat defender out there. Watch him at the top of the screen. He recognizes, he detonates before that ball is anywhere near McCombs. And nice job wrapping him up, not letting him get free, and making a big play to set up a 3rd and long.
And folks, Mason Hefner, his grandfather played in the NFL, Larry Hefner, for the Green Bay Packers. Good bloodline for Mason Hefner And a big tackle there. 3rd and 9. Norman over the middle and just through the hands.
Chance Boss. That ball was a little bit underthrown, but he was wide open. There was a blown coverage somewhere in that back end. Not quite sure who it was on, but you'll see it here. It's just a blown coverage. There's essentially 4 guys running with Gavin Barber up the seam, and they just leave Boss wide open. But Norman, I think Norman got so excited to see a guy that wide open, he kind of short-armed it because he didn't want to overthrow it and ended up underthrowing the football.
Talk about these two defenses. Yeah, that's as open as it comes. And punt time now for Cummings and the Blue Devils. This one hops.
Well, I like what Jacobson did there because the ball hit a Mooresville player on the bounce. So he knew he was safe to collect that ball. Even if he bobbled it, it would have been down right there. Watch it again here. That looks like, yep, that's number 21 down there, Patton. That ball hits him on the shoulder. And he knew that he was, check that, that was not Patton, that was 28. Check my own eyes there. Jack Schaff. That ball hits him on the shoulder. And so at that point, you can pick it up and try to advance it.
How about this? 14-7 ball game, and Lake Norman has the football with 5:11 to go, 3rd quarter. And all the momentum as they go Nordevite up the left side and keeps the legs churning for a few yards.
Yeah, but I'm going to need Nordvite to keep that lid on. That's the second time in this game that helmet has popped off on one of his runs, and he's got to come off the football field for a snap, and they got to get him replaced. He's too valuable to lose for those types of situations.
2nd down and 7 for Kraft. Handoff this time up the middle.
That's Bryson Pullman. I love that. Tendency breaker, right? Nordvite's not in there, and you stick with the same play call, maybe thinking Mooresville not expecting them to run the football there because Nordvite's not in there. Hand that football off, and you get a 3rd and short. I like the play call there.
Pullman a part of that, as Coach Oliphant says, talented sophomore class. They've got virtually everybody coming back next year. 3rd down and 3. Kraft lost the football, wrapped up, and pushed back. And now a late flag comes in.
And if this is a personal foul on the defense, this is a backbreaker.
Lake Norman had a costly fumble
I think the
deep in their own territory late 2nd quarter that Mooresville capitalized on.
Wow.
And this is on the Blue Devils. Wow.
I mean, they were getting ready to get off the field, right? That was 3rd down. They were getting ready to get off the field. It's 3rd and 4. Drops the football. See, right here, you got to feel good. We're off the field. And now all of a sudden, and I'm not sure what it was, but now all of a sudden, you got 1st and 10 for the Wildcats, and this defense has to stay on the field. That is major.
Lake Norman dodges a bullet and a fresh set of downs for the Wildcats. High snap. Kraft going deep. Jacobson holds it in. Are you kidding me?
He beat Pegram, and Pegram's still down. Pegram's not right, and you wonder down here on the bottom of the screen, and it's just a foot race. Pegram doesn't look like I'm not sure if it was on the landing, but they appear, there you see the trainers there, they look like they're trying to stretch him out, so you wonder if perhaps it's cramps. But the first thing I would tell the young man is you got to get the long spandex there. Might need to get those cut open, cut them off, right? Let some air get to that muscle, get a little pickle juice.
That's right.
And then get some ice and rub it into that muscle so you can try to loosen it up, get some moisture in there.
I hate to see this as Pegram being helped off the field. What a catch by Noah Jacobson for Lake Norman, a kid that played 125 snaps last week, both ways, offense and defense, and take a second look.
Look at him adjust to the football, right? Great job, ball skills, reading the football, recognizes where this throw is, kind of slows down, but he doesn't go into the defender, right? He just attacks the football and lets the defender get into him. That's a nice job coming down, making the catch in traffic. Big-time first down in the red zone.
And Noah Jacobson, a talented baseball player here for Lake Norman as well. You gotta love it. A lot of those multi-sport athletes on both programs here tonight. Jacobson, one of those.
Watch quarterback draw. I was thinking they're potentially empty.
This one just through the hands. Micah Slaughter couldn't lasso it in. Incomplete.
Yeah, the sure-handed senior in Slaughter. He was looking to make a move there and try to get in the end zone. He's open. This is pitch and catch right here. You got to make that grab and then do the work. Instead, he was trying to do the work before he made the grab and didn't finish the catch. They'll look to get the football right back to him as he's in a little bit of a stack situation there at the top of the screen.
Just over 3 minutes left to play, third quarter. Kraft pressured. Kraft rolling. Kraft with running room. Wow.
It's a great job by Kraft. Avoids the pressure that pushed him back in the pocket, and then he's able to use his speed to turn the corner. See, the pressure's coming. He just outruns it right there. I think that was 17 Maddox Blackburn. He just outruns that, gets to the outside, and picks up a nice chunk of yards to set up a very, very manageable third down.
And Lake Norman in the NC Public Health red zone now. A pickup of 6 on the scamper for quarterback Caden Kraft.
I think you give the ball here to Nordveit, and this is probably 4-down territory anyway.
They go right to Nordveit and fighting for yardage.
How good is that? He's working to the right. He's got a lineman in front of him, but he recognizes there's daylight back to the left. Watch his vision. He's working right. He sees daylight back to the left and then spins back inside off of another defender. That was number 90, Aaron Thomas, who got a hand on him. Spins back off of him to the inside, and that allows him to fall forward. I thought maybe he picked up that first down. If he didn't, it's really, really close. He's about a half yard short.
They've got him just short.
And they're going to go probably with the big package potentially. No, they keep the same group on the field. Slaughter's going to line up tight, almost as a tight end.
4th and inches for the Wildcats.
Quarterback power here. He'd follow right behind the back.
They go to Nordveit instead. He's got enough for the first down.
That is a big 4th down pickup. Trust your guy, number 5. He's been the bell cow all night, Mr. Nordveit.
Timeout here in the North Piedmont Conference Championship. And 1st and goal, Wildcats.
Yeah, this is an official's timeout. Not quite sure exactly what this is for here. Maybe they're trying to look at the spot. Not quite sure what the discussion is, but this is an official's timeout. Nobody called one in terms of coaches. Not sure what they're discussing. Coach Oliphant's all the way out to the hash. He wants to know what's going on. Coach O is, listen, he is one of my favorite people to talk to in high school football. He is an absolute character, but he loves Lake Norman High School and the kids he gets to coach. His father's on his staff. He's just a family guy, but he can be a character, but it's like it's all about love and trying to maximize what he gives his kids. And this is why they're going to measure this. Wow. I thought it was pretty clear that he picked it up.
Chain gang is out.
It's in the NFL. There's no virtual. What do they got that new technology they're using? Oh, wow. He had that by a yard and a half.
It looked evident from our vantage point up here in the booth that he's got enough for the first down.
I don't think we needed that.
So first and goal, Lake Norman with 2:27 left to play in the third quarter. Lake Norman has had the momentum the entire third quarter. After the Jeremy Mitchell interception, they capitalized on a Jaden Nordevite touchdown run. Kraft lost his footing.
Yeah, he tried to cut back because there was not a whole lot there. They tried to basically go essentially lead zone almost outside, like outside zone with a lead from the running back. And everybody's got a piece of somebody, but they're unable to move, if you will, the line of scrimmage up the field. Great job by this Blue Devils defense of keeping everything long-armed and just stringing that thing out. They don't get much there on the run from Kraft.
Second and goal, Wildcats. Kraft drops back, lobs it up, and Slaughter goes up and gets it. Touchdown, Wildcats. Micah Slaughter wins the jump ball in the end zone. And Chase Englehart on for the extra point to tie this thing up at 14-all. And he boots it right through.
Kendall, remember earlier in the drive, they went to Micah Slaughter on a little out route, and he dropped the football.
Yep.
And I said they will come back to the senior. It's senior night. It's a big night. His family's here. They come back to him. They throw a jump ball in the corner of the end zone, one-on-one situation, just a fade route, throw it up to the back pylon, let your big guy go get it. Remember, we saw injuries, both corners, Cleaves and Pegram, gone down with cramps or some type of injury. So what do? You attack the replacements, go up and get it with your senior Slaughter, and all of a sudden you got a tie football game.
And what a flip of the script from what we saw in the first half with Mooresville capitalizing on the Lake Norman turnovers. Lake Norman, after an interception, gets on the board in the third, and they march it down the field here.
And Pegram's back in there to return the kick. We'll see what he can do if he's back fully healthy. I do notice one thing. The long white tights are no longer on his legs.
Now, you mentioned that. Got to get rid of those and get the pickle juice on the sidelines,
That's
right?
exactly right.
This Queen City home store kickoff. Remember, folks, you're always home with the Queen City home store.
And Coach Oliphant right now changing the look of the kickoff. He didn't like what he saw on the back end. They do a lot of things based on the look, and now he's going to make the adjustment here, and then they'll kick this ball off.
Englehart, booming kick, and this one trickles through the end zone.
Well, what he did is he decided to attack Pegram. He wanted that ball kicked to Pegram because he wanted to test whether or not his legs were good enough to put together any kind of a return. Unfortunately, they kind of kicked it over his head a little bit.
Mooresville got to find something here. 14 unanswered points for Lake Norman in the third quarter and a tie football game here in the North Piedmont Conference Championship.
There is no 50-50 ball. The fact that they think it's a 50-50 ball against State.
From their own 20. Barber in motion. They hand this one off to McCombs.
Oh, Norman ended up keeping the football there. That was
me.
No, here's what it was. That's called Dave Clausen.
That's right.
The old slow mesh of Wake Forest right here. Look at him hold. Even McCombs was like, wait, did we drop the football? Because he pulled it so late.
after the 3-yard
Norman
gain.
picks up 3, so it sets up a 2nd and 7 for the Blue Devils.
Like the old Wake Forest slow mesh there. How about that?
And this time they go to Jadarius McCombs. He's got to cut it back. Nowhere to go. And wrapped up a swarm of black jerseys. Lake Norman comes away with a football from underneath the pile, but they're going to say McCombs was down.
This play was made by Jonathan Goldstein, number 21. He was the edge kind of hang player. They come to the right side. He's standing there. There's nobody to block him. He's waiting for McCombs to basically run into his chest. McCombs has to cut back where there's more help because the edge had been set by Goldstein, and you get a minimal gain there. That's well done, good execution, not overplaying it that time by Goldstein. Plays that.
Seconds left to play. Play clock at 6.
They got to snap it here.
Norman fires, tipped, nearly intercepted. It looked like caught, maybe out of bounds.
Yeah, I think they're gonna say Boss was out of bounds there on the catch.
And that is gonna run out the 3rd quarter. We got a tied football game in the North Piedmont Conference Championship on WCCB TV.
Ford dealer.
Mooresville punting this one away to start the 4th quarter here in the North Piedmont Conference Championship. Kendall Lewis, Reggie Walker, the conference crowd on the line, the Mayor's Cup on the line, a trophy that these two teams play for, big bragging rights here in Iredell County. Mooresville with the 35-20 victory in this game last year, trying to hang on to that Mayor's Cup trophy. And Lake Norman, 14 unanswered points in the 2nd half. And they've got the football with great field position here to start the 4th quarter.
Kraft on the carry.
Keeps it himself. And good pursuit.
That's a really nice play.
Tanner Finnerty sniffed it out, the linebacker for Mooresville.
That's really well done. First of all, a great job by McCollum, I should say, number 7, stringing that thing out at that defensive end spot. Another thing to keep an eye on, Pegram and Cleaves back in there at those cornerback positions. Will they test those guys deep?
Back to the line of scrimmage at 2nd and 10. And This one complete. Big catch. Zipadelli at midfield gets a foot down.
Yeah, he's picking on Pegram. He's got soft coverage down at the bottom of the screen, and he just runs Pegram off just enough to come back and make this catch along the sideline. That's a nice throw as well. Low and kind of away from the defender to pick up good yard and set up a 3rd and short.
Be a 3rd down and 2 for the Wildcats. They go Nordveit up the middle. Just keeps those legs churning.
Wow. He's going to be marked short. Where his knee went down, I thought the ball was further up the field. But that is right where his knee went down. And Coach Oliphant going to make a decision here. It's a big spot.
About a half a yard here.
Pullman's in there at running back. Nordveit not in there here. So something to keep an eye on here. And they got him.
Flag comes in.
And they got him. It was either McCollum or Vassell. Either 10 at the top or 7 at the bottom. Watch it here. That's 10 up top there you see in the picture. Yeah, I think that's who they might have gotten, but McCollum was on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, number 7. Not sure which one they got, but that's how they moved the chains.
Mooresville jumps and a fresh set of downs for Lake Norman.
And a quick
count of
quick look again, right here at the bottom. Watch number 7, McCollum. Watch him come across, right? He might have caught himself, but at the top, number 10, Vassell, I think that might have been who they got.
Kraft with time on a clean pocket. Looking sideline. It's hauled in. Noah Jacobson is not human.
Watch Caden Kraft manipulate this pocket. He's got problems. He steps up, recoils, and gets this ball out there. Pegram playing through whatever the ailments were earlier, dealing with Jacobson struggling there, and Jacobson makes a nice catch.
Couple of big-time catches in this second half for Noah Jacobson. 1st and goal, Wildcats. Nordveit fighting his way just short of the end zone.
How about number 58, Ryan Curley? The offensive lineman, was that Curley or was that 50? That might have been 50, Owen Pfefferkorn. Pfefferkorn does an excellent, he's the one pulling across, coming from the right side to the left. Nice kick out block. Nordveit works right off of him and picks up good yardage there.
Ball at the 1-yard line. Lake Norman trying to take their first lead of the game. Kraft going to tuck this one, keeps it himself, and into the end zone. Touchdown, Lake Norman. The Wildcats' first lead of the game comes with 9:22 to play in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and they go empty here to spread this thing out and open up space. Pfefferkorn again comes across, kicks out, and Kraft works right behind him and steps over lines for a touchdown.
Engelhardt for the point after. Splits the uprights. And Lake Norman, 21 unanswered points in the second half, has their first lead of the game.
How about that young man right there? The sophomore quarterback had some issues in the first half, continues to fight his way back, and all of a sudden his team has a 21-14 lead with 9:22 to play. Big time matchup at Lake Norman.
How about 21 unanswered points for the Lake Norman Wildcats in the second half to take their first lead of the ball game with 9:22 left to play. And Reggie, if you're Mooresville, what can you do to get that momentum you had on offense back in the first half?
The first thing is you better stay alert in special teams right here, because Coach Oliphant always got something up the sleeve. And then I think you got to get the running game back going. You got to get your back in McCombs back involved in this football game.
This one pooched. And at the 35, Lake Norman there with plenty of time in coverage.
Yeah, that's well done by Brooks Butler. Gets down there, makes the play right away. That high pooch kick.
Yep.
Keeping it away from these dangerous return men.
They wanted to keep it out of the hands of Boston Cleaves. We've seen Evan Young back there as well. Mooresville's got some dangerous returners. A good field position here to start for Brody Norman with 9:20 on the game clock. Plenty of time for the Blue Devils. Norman on the crossing route, complete. Gavin Barber, shrine bowler to shrine bowler.
Oh, that's good design. That's really good design. They run Bost in motion. They make it look like a run the opposite way, and they bring Barber right from where the running game action was across the field, wide open.
Barber, as we mentioned, has been the security blanket for Norman at that tight end spot. And Norman on the move, just going to throw this one out of bounds.
Yeah, that's a good decision. It was well done. Keyshawn Morrison over there, number 18, keeping him from potentially turning that corner. Got his hands up and forced the throwaway there. We've seen a lot of playmaking, right? Like good designs, good play calls, but guys just making the right play, being in the right spot, playing with the right technique to minimize some of these opportunities.
Play clock's under 10 for Brody Norman and the Blue Devils on 2nd and 10 from the Lake Norman 49. Norman across the middle finds Barber again, and extra yardage. Enough for the first down. They'll move the sticks, and the Blue Devils marching.
How about this? OG to OG. Norman goes to Barber. He just sits down over the middle of the field, sits down in a little zone, a little tight end stop route or little curl route, and all of a sudden Bodyworks plus first down, and you're in plus territory.
Norman rolling to his right. Fires incomplete. Dominic Morin, who made a couple of catches in the first quarter, couldn't quite.
Look at Morrison at the top of the screen and against Barber. See, he keeps Norman from turning that corner. Norman gets outside. He wants to completely turn the corner, maybe tuck it and run. Morrison says, absolutely not. I'm going to long arm against Barber and keep my leverage to the outside and force you to try to make a throw into a tight window and force an incompletion.
Four receivers at the bottom of your screen. Norman, pocket flushed. Norman uses his feet and gets close to the marker. Did he have enough? See where they spot the football here.
Well, this is great recognition. It was too deep, so two high safeties and man coverage underneath. Pure four-man rush. You got no help, and he just outruns the rush and picks up the first down. Well, it's actually just a little bit short. It's going to be 3rd and short here.
Yeah, 3rd and inches for the Blue Devils. Game clock under 8 minutes. Handoff McCombs. First down and slung out of bounds. Credit to tackle with Mason Hefner, who has been everywhere on that Lake Norman defense tonight. And we have got a Wildcat that is down on the field along the far sideline. The trainers are out.
Can't quite tell who that is. Not sure.
Trying to get a number on the injured Wildcat that is down here.
Yeah, you wonder. can't quite tell what they're doing. You wonder if they're almost for a second looked like they were kind of stretching somebody out. So you wonder if maybe those legs tighten up just a little bit. That's going to be number 2, Jeremy Mitchell. Wow. He's walking pretty gingerly.
Mitchell's a guy that's had 2 interceptions tonight for Lake Norman, including one in the second half that set up the first touchdown for Lake Norman. 4 interceptions on the season for Jeremy Mitchell. He's the injured Wildcat being helped off the field.
I think with him off the field, you're probably going to see a little bit more zone coverage from this back end. It'll be potentially slightly less aggressive in terms of man coverage and or blitzing here, depending on what the scenario is and who's going to replace him.
It's a first down, Blue Devils. From the Lake Norman 25-yard line. Norman fires complete out in the flat.
Yeah, they motioned their way into a numbers advantage that time with Gavin Barber going out there to set up a little bit of a screen. Now they got a numbers advantage. A bigger guy in Barber out there blocking to go with Morin. So you got a 200-pound wide receiver and a 230-pound tight end out there blocking, trying to get the ball out there in space to the receiver.
It was a pickup of 4 for Chance Balst. 2nd and 6. Norman looking to the end zone. Just overthrows Morin.
Yeah, it's an RPO, and they picked on Jacobson there. They wanted to see if he'd get dirty eyes. Watch the top of the screen. This is all about what is the DB going to do. He gets dirty eyes, and Morin's able to get beyond him, but the throw not quite accurate and incomplete. Norman missed an opportunity there. That's a situation you just lob that up there and let your guy just stand there and let it fall into his chest.
3rd and 6.
Coach Oliphant calls a timeout. Yeah, he calls a timeout. That's a good timeout. He knows that if he can get a stop here, talking about 7.5 minutes left in this game, he knows if he can get a stop here and then pick up a few first downs, he's in a good spot.
Wow. Talk about the coaches in this one. Zach Mayo, who's year 2 as the head coach. We talked about his dad being longtime head football coach at Mount Pleasant High School. He played his college football at Catawba for Joe Nixon. I thought it was one of the cooler stories I've heard in a long time today on how he got recruited, Reggie, to Catawba. When you talk about Joe Nixon, who was the previous head coach here at Lake Norman, hired Mayo. He was also pivotal in his recruitment and was coaching at North Rowan against Zach Mayo when he was at Mount Pleasant High School. Saw him in a game and told the Catawba head coach, this is a kid you need to recruit.
No, he didn't see him in a game. He watched him destroy his team in a game. You're right. Like, somebody dominates you, you don't forget that, right? And so he made some calls. And I think, that's what it's about. You see a good player that could, advance their career. You do what you can to help.
And coming from an opposing head coach, just an interesting story on Zach Mayo and his college career as this one's incomplete. Looking over the middle for Morin.
Yeah, I think you kick it here. I think you kick it. And he's looking here. He's trying to work to the middle. And I think he wanted Morin to come to the inside a little bit quicker. Now right here, if I'm Lake Norman, I'm playing field goal safe here. I'm not looking to block this. I'm matching up and making sure I don't give up a cheap first down on a fake field goal here. It's a very makeable kick for Cummings, by the way.
Coach Mayo says he has witnessed a 60-yarder from Cummings in practice. It's good. Andrew Cummings splits the uprights. 21-17. And a good stand by the Lake Norman defense.
Yeah, it's a nice job by Cummings as well. 39-yard field goal there. Good job by the battery, if you will, of snap, hold, kick. And they put it through, and now it's 21-17. So now you get a stop, you go down and get a touchdown, and that allows you to get back in front. I like the idea by Coach Mayo there to take the points. You got a kicker that can be a weapon, you use it.
Cummings splits the uprights from 39 yards. And 21-17 ball game with 7:23 left to go. Conference championship on the line, the Mayor's Cup on the line. And we're talking about playoff seeding. These two teams are comfortable with a first-round bye next week for sure. It's a matter of how many home games will they get. This is big implications tonight.
Look at this kick return formation. They are prepared for any kind of a potential short kick. And this ball's kicked deep and into the end zone, so it won't be returned. But the adjustment you saw there, 9 guys up within 15 yards of the kickoff spot for the Wildcats, just making sure no onside kick, nothing like that, catches them off guard.
Caden Kraft, who has been cool, calm, and collected.
This should be Nordveit heavy here. They've got to lean on number 5 and challenge that offensive line to go win the football game here.
Can they leak this clock here? 7:23 left to play, and the Wildcats a 4-point lead. Nordveit on the carry, immediately met by a swarm of Blue Devils.
And depending on how you get them, if you're maximizing the clock here in terms of bleeding it, I would suggest maybe 4 first downs, and you could probably close this game out with this type of tempo. We're going to move Slaughter inside as like a tight end in this particular formation.
Mooresville does have 3 timeouts left. Nordveit again up the middle.
Yeah, and his helmet came off again. It's going to be the 3rd time he's got to come out.
Bryson Pullman on.
This is a critical drive, a critical 3rd down, and you don't have your bell cow back. He's got to get that organized. That can't continue to happen. Now, maybe it's being ripped off. We don't know what's happening in the pile, but he's got to do a better job of keeping that helmet on.
Game clock under 6.5 now. Play clock under 10. On 2nd and 6. Kraft drops back to pass. Wide open. Zipadelli the catch and into plus territory.
This is a good read by Kraft. This is just a really good read. They bring a plus blitz out of the middle. Zipadelli works up on the seam, and he just throws it right behind the linebacker's ear, and they pick up a first down. That is huge for this offense.
Especially with Jaden Nordveit off the field due to his helmet coming off on the play before. And a fresh set of downs for the Wildcats.
And that's 1 first down, as we talked about.
They go Nordveit. And push back.
Gillespie ripping at the football there. I like it because several other defenders were there making the tackle, right? If you're the 2nd or 3rd guy, you start ripping at the football. You let the first guy make sure he finishes the tackle.
Game clock just over 5 minutes left to play. We mentioned Mooresville has 3 timeouts. Back to Nordveit again. Nordveit still on his feet.
It's going to be about 3rd and 4 here. 3rd and 4.5. Spotted at the 41 as he works up the field, kind of backs his way into some yardage there. And he's got to get to the 36.5-yard line, so about 4 yards. Cleaves is out there to at that right corner spot. Looks like he's trying to stretch his legs out. And Coach O's going to let this thing wind all the way down and take a timeout to get exactly what he wants here on 3rd down.
And the timeout with 4:05 left to play. Your number, you mentioned 4 first downs. Can they do it? Can they ice the game?
Well, think about it. I said that at, 7:20 left?
7:23, yep.
Okay. They've picked up one of those first downs, and we're already down almost at 4 minutes.
Just over 4 minutes.
So if they pick up another one, you're talking about now you're down close to 2 minutes.
Yep.
At that point, if you're Coach Mayo, you got to start making timeout decisions, right? 4 minutes, now you got to start thinking about how do we preserve clock to give ourselves a chance to get the football back. Now, you don't have to spend them too quickly because, again, and I'm going to continue to say this, in high school football, you push the ball down the field over the middle. If you're getting first downs, the clock will stop. So you've got to remember, you don't have to overcompensate for time because that's a way to get some of it back. Nordveit here has to be big. And this might be a perfect situation where you fake it to Nordveit and you have Kraft keep it.
On 3rd and 4 for the Wildcats. And they do that. Kraft going to keep it. Kraft, enough for the first down. And he slides, stays in bounds.
And there's a flag. And they might get Nordveit on a hold here.
Wow. Flag is down.
I think they're going to get number 5, the running back, Nordveit, on a hold.
That's right where he tried to set that block.
This will really hurt what the next 3rd down call is going to be.
Penalties against the Wildcats.
It is against Lake Norman.
Yeah, I think they got an offensive lineman. I think they got it on Sammy Wooten, number 77, the left tackle there. Yeah, they got him. Yep, there you see the arm go up from KJ Gillespie. And usually when you see that arm go up, there's an offensive line or an offensive player. They've got a tug on the jersey inside. That's exactly what they called there. So that's going to be your holding call. So now 3rd and long. Again, you still got a lot of options here. Jacobson's in the slot down to the right, but to the bottom of your screen or out to Caden Kraft's right. I'd look for maybe him working the seam.
Now it's a 3rd and 14.
Or you go Slaughter attacking Cleaves vertically down the field here.
Kraft. Pressured. Kraft going to tuck and go. Kraft with running room. Barrels his way to the marker. They're going to mark him maybe just short.
Coach Oliphant may challenge his offensive line to go win a football game right now. Kraft, this is what I love right here. The hesitation, that slows down Maddox Blackburn just enough to allow him to turn the corner. Great job out there also. The wide receiver, Doc Caldwell, do not pick up a penalty. Get out of the way there and don't get a hold or a cheap penalty there and let your quarterback try to make a play.
Offense is on the field. 4th and 1 for the Wildcats. Under 3 to play.
Yeah, I think they're trying to
draw them off sides here. And that time, Mooresville didn't bite. A timeout with 2:46.
And Kraft he's no rest for the weary. He took a shot. Yeah, he did, right on that leg. Here's what I can tell you. We had this team earlier this year against Reagan. They ended up losing the game on a blocked field goal with no time left. They would have tied it if they made the field goal. Kraft hadn't thrown a pass all week in practice that week. He had a shoulder issue, was really struggling throughout the week, but he felt pretty good late Thursday. Felt even better on Friday. What did he do? 3 total touchdowns, a pass and 2 rushes on a bum shoulder. Yeah. toughness is not something you have to worry about with Caden Kraft at the quarterback position.
We talked about it. Elite, multi-sport talent, plays basketball here at Lake Norman High School. He's also a decathlete as well.
And let me check myself on that. 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown run in that game.
On 4th and 1, handoff, Nordveit.
He got it.
He got it. You called it, partner.
And that's
Coach
2.
Oliphant challenged that offensive line.
Absolutely.
And he did, and they cash in.
That's what you're supposed to do, right? You tell your offensive line, you want to go win a rivalry game, you want to go win a conference championship, you want to get ourselves a better playoff seed, go win this football game right now. That to me, I love that from any kind of a coach. Short yardage situation, go get it. Offensive line's got to do it for us.
Game clock just over 2. Play clock now at 4. Back to Nordveit.
Yeah, and I think now you're going to see Coach Mayo start to use those timeouts for Mooresville. He's got all 3. He's got to use them now. And we talked about it. It was the 4 first downs.
Yep.
They've only gotten 2.
Right.
They've only gotten 2 first downs, and they've already bled 5 minutes and 21 seconds off this clock.
So Mooresville burns their first time out of the second half here at the 2:02 mark, left to go in the ball game. This has been a 21-3 second half for Lake Norman.
Yeah, 21 unanswered, right? The latest salvo was Mooresville with the field goal, but that third quarter was absolutely dominated by the Wildcats. Spot on, partner.
I'll tell you what, this game has lived up to the billing. Always does with these two, but a tale of 2 halves, if you will, in this one tonight. Mooresville had a 14-0 lead at halftime. It is 2nd and 9. Play clock down to 5 for the Wildcats. Hand off Nordveit. Oh, he spins and picks up a couple of extra yards.
Coach Mayo again with a timeout. And now here's the key here. If you're Lake Norman, the mindset has to be, regardless of if you are able to score on this drive, obviously you want the first down. Worst case scenario, you make sure Mooresville has no timeouts left if you have to give them the football back. So they're doing a nice job making him burn those timeouts. This is a critical 3rd down. If you decide to throw it, you better make sure it's complete, because you don't want to give them a free timeout by stopping the clock. Now, they could come back to the play they had with Kraft earlier with the quarterback run to the outside. You just got to make sure you don't end up holding that guy, right?
Right.
So they could come back to something like that. I think if they do that, they do it coming to the right, which is coming toward the near side, which for that reason it's the wider side of the field. Right. It gives Kraft more time to turn that corner.
We've seen Kraft make some plays.
Or you give it to
with his legs.
Right, or you can go outside zone with Nordveit and see if he can get outside. Slaughter's going to play that kind of – it's a little bit of a flex tight end type of role, right? He's not quite in line.
3rd and 8, 1:56 left to play. They go Nordveit up the left side. Solid pickup.
Yeah, and that 3rd timeout called by Mooresville there, Coach Mayo uses all 3 timeouts. So if you're Coach Oliphant, punting does nothing for you. If you miss a field goal here, you give up great field position, and all they need is, and now they would need a touchdown to beat you. I think he's going to challenge this offensive line again. Neither team has a timeout left. Wow, I thought it was a little bit closer than that. That's going to be 4th and 3.5.
3 now. Yeah.
I thought he was closer to 1.5 yards.
We may be generous calling that 4th and 3.
Yeah, that's a long 3. Now, there are no more timeouts on the board, so.
Interesting decision coming up for Trey Oliphant. And the offense going to stay on the field.
Yeah, it would have been a 44-yard field goal from here.
Yeah, that's
which does you no good, right?
Just out of Englehart's range.
Yeah, that's a tough kick. And it'd be against whatever wind is left.
Kraft back to pass, lumps it up, and excellent coverage.
Wow.
Incomplete.
Pegram.
And Mooresville with a chance with 1:46 to go.
I actually don't mind the call because they're playing for either your big guy goes and gets it or you get a pass interference call. There was plenty of contact down there, but both guys were sort of fighting for position. No penalty call. I like the no call there. Look, the play call, if Slaughter makes that catch, everybody says it's the greatest play call in America. He doesn't make the catch, somebody might question it. I actually like the call there. You say, hey, my senior, my best guy against your guy, I trust him to win, just unable to make the catch.
Blanket coverage for Gavin Pegram, who is on an island with Slaughter. 1:46 to go. Mooresville with the football out of timeouts. Out into the flat with Chance Boss. And ushered out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line.
And again, I'm going to continue to say this. As long as you're getting first downs, you can use the middle of the football field.
He gets out of bounds with 1:40 left on the game clock.
Coach Oliphant's defense has been great in this second half. Why not ask him to get one more stop for you?
On 2nd and 1, Norman rolling. Norman trying to cut it back, still on his feet. Norman switches field.
I think he got the first down, too. He did.
Wow, it's enough to move the sticks.
I thought he had gotten bottled up that time by Morrison, and he was able to reverse course and come back. And then on the backside, Zatavian Rucker just not quite able to get far enough up the field to make a play on him. That's a big-time run there by Brody Norman.
1st and 10, clock stopped with exactly 90 seconds left to play.
I tell the ends here, you got to keep this guy in the cage. We're going to go 2 high safeties here.
Norman flushed out of the pocket. Norman going to tuck. Got to get out of bounds, and he does.
How about the coverage on the back end? 2 high safeties, man coverage underneath, and they're making it very difficult to get anybody open. Look, as you see Norman start running around, there's just nobody there. And then you see that time Mason Hefner comes off of his assignment once Norman breaks the line of scrimmage and makes a play. And now Nordvight's in on defense. I suspect he's in there to play spy for Brody Norman and keep him from picking up a first down here.
That was a pickup of 8 for Brody Norman. 1:21 left to play. Norman fires towards the far sideline, caught. Morin out of bounds, but it's enough for the first down. They'll move the chains.
Keep an eye again on number 5 in black on defense. Jaden Nordveit, he's been excellent running the football tonight. I think they want him in there right now for his athleticism to minimize Brody Norman running around. And a true nickel now, 4-2-5. I think you're going to see a little more 3 high safety look. Oh, they're really soft coverage in the back end.
Norman finds Bost. He can fly. Bost gets out of bounds right at the late Norman 40-yard line.
This is what you call water bucket offense, right? I'm going to throw it out there to you quick and just run to the water bucket and get out of bounds. Save the clock. This is water bucket offense in the 2-minute situation.
5 seconds went off the clock that time. 1:10 left on the game clock here. And Mooresville driving. Pickup of 6 for Chance Boss that time. He goes in motion. Norman rolling. Has Boss. And Boss drops it. Wow.
That's a big drop that time. Coach Oliphant was asking for an illegal formation, but he wasn't going to get it. They had Barber at the tight end spot, and then Morin outside was on the line of scrimmage covering him up, even with the slot. That's why Bost is able to go in motion there. Well conceived by this Mooresville offensive staff. And they're going to come back to that formation very similarly. Nope, this time they're going to go ahead and cover up out to the left here.
It's a 3rd and 4.
Bubble screen right coming here potentially.
Norman with time, fires, complete. Joe Hawk, his first catch of the night, reels it in.
He wasn't the intended receiver. That was supposed to be McCombs underneath, and he overthrew him.
Trick or treat to Joe Hawk.
It's a great job by Houck coming to make that play.
50 seconds, Norman rolling to his left. How about out of bounds? They had to stop the clock at 44 seconds now.
That's actually a pretty nice play. He didn't make the tackle, but Memphis Barb did a nice job staying home on the backside and forcing Norman to run wider and further than he wanted to before he could try to turn that corner, and Nordveit was there to clean it up. Nordveit again, he's in there essentially to be a spy on Brody Norman. He has no other responsibility but to handle the quarterback taking off running.
2nd and 8 coming up for Brody Norman. Norman up the middle, wrestled down. Remember, Mooresville's out of timeouts. Game clock at 33 and ticking.
And he's short of the first down here.
Game clock at 25. Norman rolls out. Fires complete. Gavin Barber gets out of bounds. It's enough for the first down.
Yeah, first down and out of bounds. Big time that time by Norman. Just taking something simple, but getting the most out of it. You get the yardage you need for a new set of downs. You get obviously you get the ball out of bounds so the clock stops and you can slow down with this offense right now.
Game clock is at 17 ticks remaining.
And this is where Norman's feet can hurt you, because if you play too much coverage, he can take off. Nordveit has to be alert for that here, number 5 in black.
Norman to the end zone. Hold in. Yes, sir. Dominic Morin wins the jump ball in the back corner of the end zone. How about that drive by the Blue Devils? With no timeouts left, and Andrew Cummings on for the PAT. Boots it right through. 24-21. Mooresville back in front.
Watch Morin go to work here at the top of the screen. This is just a pure fade route in a one-on-one situation against Jacobson. Watch him there. The physicality right at the catch point. The physicality. He cleans Jacobson out of the way and goes up and makes this catch. Again, top of the screen. Watch him. It's one-on-one situation up there. And Norman just puts it up high. The discard and the snatch. That's big time. 6'3", 200 pounds. Going up and getting it and trying to win a football game for your team on the road against your biggest rival in a hostile environment with a conference championship on the line. And what do? You go to the guy that's been there for you for multiple years, and he makes a play, and there's a flag down. I think Coach Oliphant just got lit up with an unsportsmanlike penalty, and I think his issue is he feels like Morin may be pushed off against Jacobson there in the end zone.
And Morin, a kid that has Division I offers, almost every school in the Ivy League, Gardner-Webb, and shows off that extreme catch radius in the back corner of the end zone, and there's 10 seconds left on the game clock here at Lake Norman.
Yeah, and they're going to kick off from the plus 45-yard line.
Here's Andrew Cummings. And just boots it right through.
Yeah, he could have kicked that one
with his
leg. Yeah.
Oof. Cummings has been really good all season. So 10 seconds left for the Lake Norman Wildcats, who started the second half with 21 unanswered points. They took their first lead of the ball game at the 9:22 mark.
Now we're going to see
of the fourth quarter.
Going to see a big prevent here. I think you can get a couple of plays here, because again, the middle of the field, they're going to play very soft coverage here.
Kraft,
he wasn't even ready for
not
the
quite
snap.
ready for the snap, and underthrows his intended target that time in Zipadelli.
I think Kraft was just trying to get rid of it. That snap got to him before he was ready.
3 seconds went off the clock there, so 7 seconds now.
Yeah, and he's grabbing for that right elbow. You wonder if his arm's right. You see him there.
And he took a shot
on
that scramble, and he landed awkwardly. Tough kid, though, as you mentioned, in Caden Kraft. With 7 seconds, takes it, throwing on the run. It's picked off. Snared at midfield.
Pegram.
Gavin Pegram answers the bell and ices it for Mooresville.
You see it again here. He's just trying to make a play to Slaughter. Nothing there. And that ball's picked off.
And the Mayor's Cup going to stay at Mooresville High School.
How about Coach Mayo and his group coming in here and just gutting one out? 23-21.
Zach Mayo in year 2 as the head coach. Mooresville Blue Devils, your North Piedmont Conference champions. Heartbreaking loss if your Lake Norman had the football with the 21-17 lead with just over 7 to go and lead the clock all the way down. And how about Mooresville with no timeouts, marches down the field, Reggie, and gets in the end zone with 10 seconds left to play.
2 words. Senior quarterback. 2 more. Brody Norman. That's it. That's it. The kid did not panic. He stared down the barrel of a loss and found a way to win the game.
This week's game was brought to you by Queen City Home Store, your whole home destination. North Carolina Public Health. We are NC Public Health. Everywhere, every day, everybody. Visit ncthhs.gov. Body Works Plus Collision Repair Center. Keep your family safe since 1998. And Fred Caldwell Chevrolet, home of the Silverado guys. Be sure to visit FredCaldwellChevy.com. An instant classic here at Lake Norman High School, and Mooresville wins it 23-21. Incredible ball game. For Kendall Lewis, Reggie Walker, and our producer Brady Pugh, this has been our WCCB Game of the Week, a Bayhackle Sports production. We say good night from Lake Norman High School.